Welcome, everybody. This is episode 24 of the Talk Your Soul podcast. I am DA. This is the way. Next to me is my brother from another. Today he's going by Damien, but you may know
Mm-hmm.
him as Sabir.
Sabir here.
Welcome, brother.
What's up, my guy?
Welcome. So in our efforts to have a more structured product, what we decided to do, folks, is we're going to have the first of a three-part discussion on what it means to be 50 because we are both 50. This brother here is about to turn 51 very shortly, and I will follow in a few months. And I think it's important we have that conversation. So to keep it focused though, we're going to focus on health, finance, and music. Today we're going to start off with music because personally I just feel like this conversation is more relevant to what's going on right now in social media. And so we should have it.
Okay.
So what's
Take us
good, brother? What's good?
t- take us through. I mean, like you said, I'm about to end 50, and this episode is you know, about us, 50, and it's about all of y'all as well. You know what I mean? As we look at our icons in music that are also 50. You know, there's some rappers that are 50. Beyonce's 50. Uh yeah, so like we're gonna talk about music. Hip hop is 50. Quick historical thing, real quick. I just wanted to think about it in the concept of other musics like jazz, um, reggae, like, you know, other forms of music like that are older than hip hop. As we talk about, hip hop is yes 50, and that is relevant in our culture because that dominates our culture. Country music is older, right? So yeah, just not to lose that perspective within the music uh, dialogue.
Of course, of course. Um so I want to lead off the conversation today by asking you a question. And that question is, when should artists consider retiring? Now, there are some because like I say, we I consulted the scrolls to help prepare this episode, and it gave some interesting points as to when it felt artists should consider retiring, or I guess what they should consider when consider retiring. That's more accurate a statement. And we're going to go through them one by one, and we'll start off with the first naturally, and that is when the passion fades. So, how do you feel about that?
When we're talking about Jim Jones, just to stay there, he's 50 and uh, in the culture right now in social media, and he clearly has a passion to be that at 50. You know, um, if you look at Nas, he might be less passionate towards that goal of because again, I've heard one of the talking points about that in that conversation is that like Nas is already he's an established goat. Like when you're an established goat, you don't even like come down the hill. You know what I mean?
Yes, you
You know what I
you
mean?
you
Like
now reside in the pantheon
yeah, you
amongst the
don't
others.
yeah. So
Exactly.
there's that happening with that. You know what I mean? Will Smith is 50. He seems to be having a midlife crisis with his music
Now,
career. Yeah,
I'm
all the,
glad you
all,
brought that up. Right. So I have a story. Yesterday when
Okay.
I was talking to one of the customers as they were coming in about Will Smith and his midlife crisis. And we have both come to the conclusion that the music that he currently was on social media doing was not it for him. And so the customer walks away, and I promise you, very next thing I see is like the most classic Will Smith rap. He's basically like doing the barbershop scene, and he's like all the different characters, and they're having a conversation about Will Smith. And they're like not dissing him, but they're like criticizing him, and some are defending him. And then at the end, Will Smith himself walks in. And my first thought was, now if he continued along this lane, then it would be great because that is Will Smith. That is the Will Smith that I've always known. That guy right
Right.
there. And
Right.
that was very unique. And I have to actually give him credit for doing that. But that other shit, all the raw and all that shit, no, no, no. End it. End it, Willard. End it now. Because that
It
is
just
not.
makes me wonder with all these stars and their uh the ceilings that they may hit or not hit when they're aging and hitting 50. Who is their PR, who is the PR firm that's allowing this to
Well,
happen.
for him, he is.
Like,
I believe he is definitely controlling his own social media.
oh
Like,
my
there's
god.
no one else doing that but him. I
And what's
believe
and
that
what's and what's
wholeheartedly.
and what's and what's admirable, honestly, about Will Smith and the pantheon that has been his career is that he, in the social media age, you know, has become masterful at recovering from PR disasters, aka slapping Chris Rock. You know what I mean? Like he has recovered from that. Maybe,
I
maybe
agree.
not. Maybe not.
I
You
agree.
know, like what I mean. Like I don't. Maybe that's
Well, I
what's
mean,
eating at
according
him.
to him,
Maybe he
this
maybe he
this
needs to say he's sorry.
I don't. I'm just saying I don't know, but according to him, we need to pay attention because this could be the bounce back, and I'd hate to think what that means in this entire, but we have to now be on the lookout for that. You know, we have to be on the lookout for that. But to keep it on topic, I would definitely agree that Will Smith passion has not faded. Or at least if it
Right.
had faded, like he found a way to re-energize it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
And let us move on. Yes, sir.
yeah, so the next point that Chat GBT brings up is when health demands it. And this leads to a
Mhm.
conversation we had a few days ago when we were talking about artists just not they need to like just stop being on the stage or something. Like it's starting to be obvious that like they can't really hang on the stage. I mean, but not to really, I'm not trying to diss anyone. I'm just saying like that's usually when
Please.
I'm just saying that's usually when us as the audience will see it, is if you happen to be at a concert and you recognize the fact that this performance isn't what you were used to. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely slowed down. And we could give some examples.
Little Kim is
Yes,
50. Nikki is 50. B is 50. Um,
she is.
uh, we can
Are
look
you
it up.
serious?
We can look it up.
Hold
But
up. I just never knew that.
fact check me. Yeah, fact check me. Fact check me. Um, but yes, to your point of health, I'm gonna extend health
Now she's
to
42.
the. Okay, okay. So
42.
so keep shaking it, B. You got 8 more years to shake it. Um, uh, yeah, don't worry about the little tub. You know, tell me. Yeah, I mean, like niggas don't care about that shit. Like, girl, just keep doing that shit. Like, just keep shaking that shit for like 8 more years.
Listen, that is Nicki Minaj.
I'm
I
talking about B. I'm
guarantee.
talking about B. I'm talking about B right
Oh,
here. Wait. But in the health domain of this conversation, I would like to extend that umbrella to include plastic surgery.
fair
And
enough. Because that I
and
believe that should be considered too.
and little Kim's health is in question right now. She looks like a gremlin troll with a 4X BBL. Like the original Little Kim in the poster, the iconic hardcore, the poster that was up in everyone's closet
I,
in my place because my
I
parents
used to
wouldn't let me have it
fantasize
up.
about that woman, man. Like legitimate fantasies. Like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yes.
mean, she was.
Little Kim, let's just keep it for the culture. Little Kim made rap sexy.
Yes, she
Rap
did.
was not sexy until Little Kim came along. And now we have Sexy Red, and now we have Big Mama and Lotto. Uh, we have Glorilla, dominating popular music right now. And it goes back to, it goes back to Little Kim. And Little Kim at 50, the assessment is stop. Stop. Stop.
Just
Stop.
stop. Just stop.
Stop. Stop everything you're doing. Stop it. Everything. Everything you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, I'm like I said, I'm entertained by the new Clips album. These guys are rapping at 50. You know what I mean? Like, and that's inspirational. You know what I mean? To the culture. It is like,
which leads which leads to the next point.
mm,
Um, when relevance has declined and reinvention feels inauthentic. So here is where I want to give my take on Jim Jones.
mm-hmm,
I feel like, and this is in no way a diss to him, but I feel like his relevance is just a byproduct of, in my opinion, the fact that his level of skill is now what is popular. Like his sound is now what is popular. All these other rappers pretty much rap like that. But during the heyday, he
rap like
wasn't
what?
even at the, like his
Rap like what?
cadence and just the things he says. Like that's
Jim?
what, yes, Jim Jones.
No. So Jim Jones recently as yesterday, was doing a freestyle directed at the Clips. And so he was trying to like rap. And I think I sent it to you. And yeah, it was average, whatever. It wasn't, whatever it was, but like speaking to authenticity.
I'm not talking about him
Like,
being inauthentic. What I'm saying is
uh,
during the heyday of the Dipset,
mhm.
he was at the bottom because
Yeah,
his style was kind of subpar to the average of the time. Like
mhm.
motherfuckers was rapping different, but now his style times, like his style is, on par with the times. And I think that is why he has the relevance with the younger audience, because he's already what they're listening to.
Yeah,
Just
ish.
him
Yeah, I
being
got
his
you.
authentic self. That's my point. Like I said, it's not a diss. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it.
nah,
And
100%.
when you then try to like make it an argument about relevance with a rapper like Nas, no, he's not, because he's moved on.
Yeah.
Rap is not his thing no more. He's into business and doing all that. Like, the fact that he even took the time to get in the booth to drop a diss track, I guess that's just to let you know that you still can't fuck with him. But that ain't his focus. He don't need to write. He don't need to put out no more music
Well, that's a great segue because Pusha T has not stopped rapping ever.
ever.
And when you talk about authentic, it doesn't get any more authentic than going and getting your brother.
Bringing him back.
Yeah, like go to get your brother, you know what I mean, like off the porch, you know what I mean, bro. Come on, you know what I mean. He gets off the porch, you know what I mean, like and he was on the back porch, you know what I mean. He wasn't even on the front porch. Like you got bro was on the back porch, looking out the back, you know what I mean, like
Right.
yeah, and yeah. So like if you want to do it, you can do it if you have the passion and it can be relevant to the culture. You know what I mean? In an era where, yeah, like it is more turn up and
Now,
Jim Jones was always a more party style, anthem driven,
now,
performer. Yeah, go ahead.
um, before we move on, I I want to address the reinvention part of it, because I feel like that is a direct that has a direct impact on the very culture, because
Mhm.
even with all these artists that we're mentioning right now, they didn't have to reinvent themselves. Even Jim
Yeah,
Jones, he didn't have to reinvent himself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
I
because
think
he's
if an
committed to
artist
being
is
the oldest. He's committed to being the oldest young nigga.
the,
So he's like
the
that's always been his
OYN, he's the
the oldest.
OYN.
He's the OIN.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the
Who,
OYN.
bro? Like
But
who?
yeah, I'm just saying, like, if I feel like if you get to the point where as an artist you feel like you have to reinvent yourself, then yes, you should definitely retire.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
think, I mean, at least in hip hop, maybe you can do something different in other
yeah.
forms. I mean, Beyonce seems to be, I don't know if this is reinvention or just an expansion, but like she's like going into every possible genre she can do. I'm just waiting for her to do a jazz album now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's on a genre tour. She's on a
Yo, she
genre
shows
tour.
she drops a reggae album like Snoop did.
Now, thank you. That which kind of brings to the point. Like, there was a time where it felt like Snoop was trying to reinvent himself. You know what I
And he
mean?
always has. He is the king. He is the king of
But now,
50.
no, I
The
think
point.
different. It's different now. His
But it's not
name,
music. It's not music. Yeah, it's not music.
yeah,
It's not
his
music.
name is the brand now. So at
Yeah,
now he could do whatever you want, and it's going to
yeah,
work because his name holds that much. But
right.
I mean, I just say that. But anyway, moving
But do
on.
you think to
Go
your
ahead.
to your point though, like does someone like Snoop ever think of retiring?
He doesn't
To a
have
larger
to. That, like,
right,
he's
because
at
I
a
guess
point
he's
where he can live his life and just make money when he wants to.
okay.
Like, yeah, it's
But
not
like he's
like he doesn't need it. He can just
so
do
the
what he
money, so
wants.
the money from the financial stability part of it,
Right. He's
like yeah,
straight.
like
He
yeah,
good. Like,
yeah,
even
yeah,
when he bought Death Row, I feel like he bought it mainly because he wanted to get it away from Suge. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
forever,
And he
forever.
was able, right, and he was able to do it. And
Yeah.
so, like, yeah, now you have to run the record label, but I mean, it just makes sense that he would because he was one of the
Right.
artists that made Death Row the label that it became. Like, it just makes
Row,
sense.
row, death
Yeah, it just
row.
makes sense. But yeah, so but good segue to the next thing, financial security
Hmm.
achieved. I guess Snoop kind of answers this. When you have financial stability, like it has to be another factor that starts the retirement thing because he's
Yeah.
proven you don't have to retire and he's still financially stable.
But
But his
he has to,
name, go
he
ahead.
has to have some level of still passion and ambition getting up
Of
every
course.
day beyond maintaining what he's done. Even when you look at Shaq, you know, we didn't want to do sports, but Shaq is just a public figure who's 50. And he is very unhappy with what he's achieved at times at, after achieving so much, and that's going on between his own ears. You know what I mean? So yeah, like there's this like, and I don't think he'll ever stop creating. Every morning he's waking up, he's going to be thinking of creating to help someone, in his own words.
I mean,
So yeah,
yeah, but he's also the type of person that he does his philanthropy.
and he's a DJ, so he's
Yeah,
relevant
I
to
was about
music.
to say that, but yeah,
Eddie raps. He
right.
had a song with
But
Meek, like he raps.
yeah, his philanthropy I think is more like grassroots because every time I see a story about him doing something, it's usually like a chance encounter that he just does a kind act in.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like he came across the two kids in the store looking at the laptops and he just decided to buy them for the
right.
kids. Like,
Yeah,
I just saw
he's
one the
done
other day where,
countless.
yeah, I saw one the other day where this little girl was interviewing him and I guess they had like met before and then he reminded her of a bet that they made and the fact that he lost the bet and he was like, I owe you money, and then he just pulled out a little wad of cash and gave it to her. Like that's the kind of he'll do that. But I'm
I'll
sure
tell
I know
you.
he does big things, but he does
I'll
that.
tell you.
Like, and I think,
Let me tell you. Let me tell you one Shaq story. For the record, that I know of. As a player, one time he was on his way to a game in LA, and his car broke down, and someone gave him a ride to the stadium, and he bought that person a car.
yeah, I saw that story. Yeah, see, that's
Like,
Shaq. That is Shaq.
yeah,
Nobody
I mean,
else is
there's,
really doing it like that. Shaq is the
yeah,
only
yeah,
one that's really doing it like that, and
yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
say like he'll never not be relevant
yeah,
culturally because he touches people directly, and
yeah.
that's different.
Charles
But
Barkley is another figure that does that. Like he's so
yes,
down to earth that like he'll just be in a car wash down here. Just being a regular guy. But yeah,
so moving along, kind of transitioning, legacy. So I would imagine legacy applies to, in one way or another, like everyone that we're talking about. Like everyone has, at least on a personal level, a legacy that they want to leave behind. Rappers talk about it a lot. Sports figures talk about it a lot. That's why I think that's what motivates them to like have foundations and things like
well,
that.
this is what's again uh, uh relevance. In my opinion, in this conversation is that like again in the scope that when you're a country singer, you know what I mean, like or a famous singer from the '60s or the '70s, you still have a residency in Vegas until you barely can like walk. You know what I mean? Like your career never ends. Like these people be out there like at
That
70.
depends. That depends. Because
And
I'll be honest with
other
you.
in certain other musics, like never like Willie Nelson never retired. You know what I mean? Like there's some people that like in other music things, histories, have you know never retired.
I mean, I
And
think
some have.
I think
Some are
part of
still
that.
performing.
Yeah, I think part of that comes
Like the
from the
Grateful Dead,
ability.
like the Grateful Dead, like all those white bands, you know what I mean? Like, like Metallica right now, one of my favorite white boy bands, music bands, like they're still playing at 50. And like that's, white people are just supposed to be doing that. Like, because they're just rocking
Well,
on.
it's different with the Grateful Dead since you brought them up, and I know that for a fact because they played several
Some of their
shows at the
members are
Sphere.
dead. Yeah, some of their
But I'm
members
just
are
saying,
dead.
but the Grateful Dead as an entity, like it's transcended beyond the music. Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
is that's different. That's a whole different conversation when you talk about
It
bands
really
like
is.
that.
Let me tell you, you are on the tip of an iceberg when you talk about the Grateful Dead of something that like
Yeah,
unifies people across political parties, across races, across genders, like
ages,
ages.
all of
Yeah,
it.
like
Yes.
the Grateful Dead is a unique cultural sub conversation. Let us move on.
All right. So next we have when personal life takes precedence. I just think that kind of speaks for itself. Like if that's the situation that you're in, you should
Yeah,
consider retiring or at least putting your career on hold until you get that under control. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that kind of leads to the age that we're in, like the way I guess music distribution and everything has changed. You don't like you alluded to, you don't ever really have to retire. It could now it's just become a stream of income in a sense,
yeah,
as opposed
yeah,
to like a career path. You know what I mean? Like at least
yeah.
the artists that are in the career, they could operate that way in it because that's what the technology and the times have brought the
Yeah,
ability
and
to
real
move
quick,
that way.
real quick, personally and professionally, like you know, I am trying to do what I do as a professional at a high level, for the next 15 years, beyond 50, here. And like, so, and I think I have recently reinvigorated my uh, commitment to it, definitely. And that, that has now aligned with, you know, the passion that has always been there, you know what I mean? But sometimes we'll get discouraged by other things. So yeah, like I think these artists in their musical careers, should think of like Allen Iverson's 50. He's another popular figure who's 50 who has you know navigated his you know impact, his relevance. Has been like you know there's certain people that like to the Clips example, like big bro was on the back porch. He clearly was going through some life stuff where he had to get right with other stuff in his life away from music. You know what I mean? Like, but it didn't take away for him to like come off the back porch.
And consider and get the lyrically slaughtering cats. You know what I mean? Just like right off the back porch, swinging lyrical
I just
swords and shit.
I just see him with a shotgun. It's like a shotgun. It's like it's like on GTA. It's like the shotgun, the multiple shotgun joint, like that joint, just like he just
Uh-huh.
gets off the back, like he's had that joint on his lap the whole time. He just goes like, and he comes off the back porch like that's what he got. Yeah, he
Oh,
had to
that's
do,
funny. That's funny.
man.
So the last thing that it talks about in this discussion is when creative evolution is complete. I don't really know
Mhm.
what that means, honestly. Like when I hear it, I just think like when you creatively have just run out of gas, like you have no more, And I can kind of relate to that, being a poet. Like that's kind of what happened to me. I just reached that point where I just didn't really have it in me no more to just like be about poetry,
Mhm.
And every now and then, well, not, and I ain't gonna say it like it because it doesn't really happen a lot, but there have been incidences recent history that have given me opportunities to write, but I still can tell like I just don't really have the motivation for it, you know.
Yeah, like you can lose the passion, for a part of yourself. Sometimes that's growth. Sometimes that's a part of you, maybe a creative part of yourself that you need to tap into, to you know, for your own relevance and your own story. So like, yeah, I think that's a conversation that kind of goes on within us, or
Yeah.
should.
Speaking of poetry, though, when you had mentioned before about
Oh wait, before I forget, because my short-term memory is impaired. With local artists, as they're approaching sometimes 30 or sometimes 40, they're asking themselves like, you know, should I stop chasing this dream? You know what I mean? Should I stop, you know, being passionate and working towards it? It's uh like, so like younger generations go through it too as they approach these benchmarks, like in life, with years, as the years go on, like, and you question that, you know what I mean? And there's, speaking of real rappers, like the whole Griselda team, like those guys were like all in their 30s when it popped for them a couple years ago. Like they were old, they're grown men. Like rapping, up there in Buffalo, New York. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
and they were rapping like the Woo. They're rapping like the Woo. They're basically, in my opinion, now that's my assessment. They represent the new Wu Tang part of this music, this rap culture. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
there's NBA young boy, and like, like there's all kinds, there's
Hmm.
Playboy Cardi, like these guys are singing when they're rapping, and then there's like bars, and then there's the clips, and then there's
Yeah,
Drake,
yeah. We
and then
don't. We don't. We
there's Drake.
don't
Drake's
do.
50. Oh no, Drake is
We
what? How old is Drake? How old is Drake? Drake is 40. Drake's 40, and he has fake abs. He has fake abs.
Nope. We're
I
not
can't
talking
wait till
about
you're
Drake.
50, Drake. I can't
We're
wait
not
till you're
talking.
50, Drake.
We're not even going to talk about Drake. Drake. Drake is, and this is all I will say on the matter of him. Drake is hip hop's number one fanboy. Like he will go. He is like a
He is gonna have a reggae album, or may already have one.
like his will be a slow jam reggae album though. Like
Oh
it
my
just
god.
you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, keeping
Hey,
things moving
hey,
along.
hey.
Keeping things moving along.
Mm-mm-mm.
Everything that we've been talking about so far leads to longevity. We're
Yeah,
really talking about longevity.
yeah,
And again, in preparing, Chat GBT gave some factors that it felt were important to
Hmm.
consider in an artist's
Hmm.
longevity. We'll go through these as well. The first being adaptability. We talked about it earlier, but we can just kind of, I mean,
Check.
like it's
Yeah.
necessary to be
Yeah.
adaptable if this is
We
your
talked about that.
intention. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the next being timing and cultural relevance. Um, that's kind of what I was
The Jim
referring to
Jones. That's the
about
Jim
Jim
Jones,
Jones.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We
Like
got
it's
that.
like a
Check.
matter of timing. It's like if rap
Yeah.
had never went there, like he probably would have just faded out because the other ones did, but their style don't fit this new shit.
This is like
So
these
they had to
guys.
go and do a different lane.
This is my thing with they should be emotionally intelligent about where they are at in the game more. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like again,
Facts.
like just like to these new age rappers, like you got to know how you got here. You know what I mean? To my point with the Griselda, like they know they're the new woo. You know what I mean? Like they represent that lane. You know what I mean? Because they're just killing that lane. You know what I mean? With everyone they spawn. Yeah, just on the
Yeah,
chessboard.
Benny the Butcher is my favorite out of the
Yeah, he is
three.
my favorite. He's my
Yeah, that
favorite.
dude right there,
Definitely
he
my
just be
favorite.
on some other shit. I fucks with him.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Fucks with
yeah.
him. All right, so yeah,
From
the next
Montana
point,
Street. From Montana Street. Benny.
Montana
Sorry.
Street. The next point that it brought up is business acumen. And I think that's
Mm,
important because
hmm.
if you haven't figured out the business side of it, you probably aren't in the game anymore anyway. So that's really important to have a business acumen. And all the artists talk about that at some point. If not in song, in interview, they talk about that point where they learned that they had to pay attention to the business. It usually, in music wise, it usually goes down to the conversation of owning your masters,
Yeah.
but the point is you have to be business smart if you're trying to have a name or have a name that carries a lot of weight and can go for a long time in the music industry. And, I mean, I think that's all you can really say about it. You got anything else
Well,
you want to say about
yeah.
that?
Well, no, no. Yes, I do actually. Like that makes me think of one of my favorite rappers that we haven't talked about yet, who's 50. I think he's definitely one of your favorite rappers. He he had to come back to social media to understand that he could make money. You know what I mean? As a businessman, business person in today's world, like by just coming back to social media, like he wasn't even on social media because of his perspective. And like, yeah, so when he came back and like now he's back and it's love. And I'm talking about Beanie Siegel Street Gang, like my guy, like, like,
I was thinking
he's
about him when I was
you know what I
saying
mean?
what I
Like
was saying earlier.
he's
Yeah.
50 and like he doesn't have the voice, talking about the health part, he doesn't have the voice to rap like he could rap back in the day. And like, with this new AI thing, there's been some attempts to like, have him, drop some songs, but yeah, like, you know, he's reinvented himself in other ways, like with just entrepreneurial business things. You know what I mean? Outside of rap, you know what I mean? He has adapted, you know, uh, and part of it is making money on social media. It's the likes and the clicks and the views. That shit generates money. And if you're making your platform generate money or attention, you're making money. And that's what they were doing with the verses during the pandemic. Like they were all making money off of all the attention. You know what I
And
mean?
that's a perfect segue into the next segment, which is
Mm,
talent versus branding, because what you're talking about is branding.
yeah.
Now, it leads me to a couple of questions. So, my first question is, would you agree that music, particularly hip hop and R&B, no longer require talent? And my next question is, do you think it's better to have talent and the ability to leverage the branding, or like, can you navigate through this world? I mean, I don't know. Like, let me rewind, because I guess what I'm trying to say is, which is more important, the talent or the branding in today's music?
In
That's
today's
what I'm
music,
asking.
in
Yes.
today's music, to with a head nod to longevity, what younger people should be thinking about as they're looking to their later careers as they hit 40 and 50 is look at the people who are at 50. You know what I mean? Look at 50 Cent with what he's done in film. Look at Gilly, what he's done in podcasting. You know what I mean? Look at Jay, what he's done in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, you know, these guys were all rappers at one point. You know what I mean? Like, and like they have, you know, Gilly doesn't rap anymore, but Gilly is the culture, is part of the culture. Heavy part. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to Wallow. I mean, shout out to all the podcasters out there. You know what I mean? Like this is all like good stuff. You know what I mean? I support everybody. Um, yeah. So yeah, like that's like look, 50, 50. You know what I mean? Like I don't watch the whole stars thing, you know what I mean? Like that's money. That's business, you know. Like if 50 drops a song, like, how relevant is it to music right now? Or if 50 drops a new series, how relevant is it to the culture? You know?
All right. So the last point
Ooh.
that it mentions is industry infrastructure. Um I think that's a very broad stroke as a conversation, but what I've been thinking about as we're sitting here is, has it changed? I feel like it has. Like,
Mm-hmm. Big time. Streaming changed it. Yeah, like
yeah.
the piracy era changed it. You know, there's like a lot of forces that changed music. And it's cool. What's cool is like my kids got me like a record player. You know what I mean? Like to listen to like Jay on like a record player. Like like that's some timeless. That's a timeless thing. Speaking of Jay at 50. Put on some Nas. I got like a Nas joint, but put that on like an album with the crackles. Nothing like it.
With the what?
The crackles of the needle hitting the record. When the
Oh,
needle hit the
oh,
record,
oh. Okay.
when the needle hit the record, like records are cooler than CDs right now as far as retro. As far as like records are cooler. Like some of the
Well,
group,
I mean, if you ask,
Rome
if
Streets, like Rome Streets, who's a real underground. Shout out to the underground. Shout out to underground, everything underground. Shout out to my man Dante. I mean his underground, beat John, like you know these guys are like in a certain lane. You know what I mean? Like and I got off track that quick.
no, no. Before we move on, I just want to shout out my friend, my DJ friend, DJ Foundation. He is the resident DJ for Soul City Radio, and he's a vinyl junkie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he does. Like, if you hear any, if he does a music thing, you're hearing vinyl. Like, you're not hearing any other
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
And so I can respect that. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Now, this is a good segue for the last, I guess, section that we want to talk about. which is the role of technology and fan culture, because we've kind of been skirting that this whole time. So I want to focus on it a little more. Um, Mainly, we talked about verses. I want
Yeah.
to talk. What I want to talk about is something like verses and its ability to benefit an artist's longevity, or just allow them to have any, like, to have a lengthy career as an artist.
It was an opportunity during the pandemic, for artists to haven't taken opportunity to remind themselves like who they are to the music culture and the music history. Like when I watch Ja Rule versus Fat Joe, Fat Joe will admit in interviews after that like he knew Ja was gonna steal the show. You know what I mean? Because Ja has so many hits. He knew that was going to be the outcome, and he looked at it as a globe bigger, like an opportunity to not only give Ja his flowers and Joe, give himself flowers in the process. And that is a great segue because Ja Rule was the original singing rapper in an
Yes,
era
he
where
was.
in an era, but he did it at a very popular level, a very high level, like
I
and
mean,
that cannot be denied. And that was, when I watched that, like I was reminded, I was like, wow, like this guy like has 20 hits. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. It like his songs will make a room move in our culture. You know what I mean? Like, I saw his effect on the culture. You know what I mean? And that's what Versus was an opportunity to allow the algorithms to replay all the highlights. You know what I mean? And get it out to the masses in this technology-driven world. Of this is how we get music or exposure to music is often through social media lenses. So, like, yeah, you're seeing, it's either the trend dances. If there's a trend to a song, that's how like conventional people will get exposed to music in today's with today's technologies. And again, with streaming, it's all about how you stream and where you stream. Still, you know what I mean? And you know, it's fragmented. The radio station to the radio is to our old discussion is radio dead. You know what I mean? Like, the delivery system has definitely changed in technology when it comes to music, when you're thinking about things. Fro shizzle.
yes, as someone who is in that industry, I wholeheartedly agree.
Hmm.
That being said, shout outs.
Shout out to the listeners, uh, local. Shout out to all the social media engagement, and we will start to like highlight that, you know. So like yeah, like talk to us on the socials. Let us know who you are. Let us
Yeah, if
know
you,
what you like. Let us know if you like today's format, which was like with you in mind, you know.
and if you are watching the video, you do see the ticker scrolling
Hmm.
along here. It's our
Hmm.
link tree link. Go ahead and click that, and you could follow us everywhere else we are. Um, yeah. I'd like to shout out. That's a good question. I never thought I would actually. I don't know. I'm gonna
You
be
already
honest
shouted
with
out.
you.
You already shouted out Soul City Radio. You already shouted out Consortium Radio. You know what I mean? You already shouted out like, everything that's authentic to us always has been. You know what I mean? And we'll drop the mics on that.
Yes, we will. Yeah, like, follow, subscribe, especially on YouTube. And if you're seeing something on TikTok, especially there. I said that because I thought your face was about to cringe up, but I see you kept it a little stoic. See, there it
Yeah.
is. That's the look. That's
TikTok,
the look I was
TikTok,
waiting for.
TikTok, 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 TikTok.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.